Before Thanos was able to collect them all in Avengers Infinity War, a handful of characters in the MCU also got their hands on an Infinity Stone with varying degrees of success. As impressive as Goose's Tesseract hairball was in Captain Marvel, she didn't technically use it, so let's take a look at who did. I'm Greg Elliott with Screen Rant, and here's every MCU character besides Thanos who wielded an Infinity Stone.
You have never seen this, have you?
It's not for the eyes of ordinary men.
Exactly.
Johann Schmidt, aka the Red Skull, was the first to discover the Space Stone/Tesseract in Norway hundreds of years after the Asgardians hit it on Earth. He used it to power all sorts of Nazi weaponry until Captain America foiled his plans, but his ambition was a little too great, and when he ultimately grabbed it with his bare hand, it transported him to Vormir, where he unwillingly became the eternal guardian of the Soul Stone.
Sir, please put down the spear.
Loki first came in contact with the Mind Stone after being given the scepter by Thanos. He later stole the Tesseract, again the Space Stone, in Thor Ragnarok and surrendered it to Thanos in Infinity War, but life finds a way, and it literally lands at his feet in Endgame, where he escaped with it right into his own Disney Plus show. In Thor the Dark World, Jane Foster discovers the hidden location of the Aether/Reality Stone, which chooses her as its host. It's eventually drained out of her by the Dark Elf Malekith, who wanted to use it to plunge the universe into darkness, which he almost did before the events of the Dark World, and it wasn't until he met Jane that he was finally able to absorb it himself.
Before creation itself, there were 6 singularities.
In Guardians of the Galaxy, the Collector briefly shows how the Celestial named Eson the Searcher harnessed the Power Stone to destroy an entire planet, while another group of cosmic beings was unsuccessful in doing so. And remember poor Karina, the Collector's servant? Well, even after learning how destructive the stone was, she tried to grab it in an attempt to kill him, which unfortunately exploded her in the process. Later on, Ronan the Accuser is a little more successful with it, inserting it into his hammer and attacking Xandar. He manages to survive his ship crashing while still holding on to the stone, that is until Star-Lord distracts him and rocket blasts it out of his hammer with the Hadron Enforcer. Quill immediately then grabs it, but instead of exploding like Karina did thanks to his celestial heritage, he's able to survive, and the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy all then join hands with him to help spread out its crazy cosmic energy.
What's the vibranium for?
I'm glad you asked that, because I wanted to take this time to explain my evil plan.
After the Space Stone, the Mind Stone is the second most passed down Infinity Stone in the MCU, and yes, while Baron von Strucker and Hydra did use it to give Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch their powers, they didn't really ever wield it as a weapon, and when Ultron got his hands on it, he didn't really either, instead using Loki's scepter to control Helen Cho, and then breaking it to implant the stone in a new perfect body. Which, as we know, ended up being Vision, who with Jarvis's and Ultron's knowledge, the power of Thor, and the Mind Stone embedded in his head, quickly became one of the strongest characters in the MCU. It seems he can't, or is at least unwilling, to control people's minds with it, but he can shoot energy beams out of it. Downside, though, is that he dies if you rip it out of his head.
The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
I think you'll find our will equal to yours.
Even though Doctor Strange may have taken the Eye of Agamotto with the Time Stone embedded inside it without permission, he quickly proves himself as worthy of the title Sorcerer Supreme, going from messing with apples to saving the universe in no time at all, and later uses the stone to pinpoint exactly which one of the 14,605 possible futures is the right one to bring Thanos down.
Banner.
Welcome, strongest Avenger.
What?
As the MCU's strongest Avenger, sorry Thor, Hulk was the only one capable of using the full Infinity Gauntlet to try and undo Thanos' snap in Avengers Endgame. But it still messed him up pretty bad, so when Tony attempts the same thing at the end of the film, even with his fancy nanotech, we all knew that it wasn't going to end well for Iron Man. But died saving the universe doesn't look too bad on a tombstone, and we still might not have seen the last of Tony in the MCU either way. And that's it, all the people in the MCU who've used an Infinity Stone. Some live, some die, but all had the stones to wield the most powerful gems in the universe. Thanks for watching Screen Rant, guys, and keep coming back to us to stay in the loop on all things Marvel. I'm Greg Elliott, and we'll see you next time.